Brooke with the Junk Parlor. Welcome to my channel. I am so excited to be finally sharing with you our guest bedroom makeover. I've been brainstorming probably since my oldest moved out, really strategizing what I wanted to do in here, and then actually making it happen probably took around 3 months. I spent less than $200 on this transformation, and honestly, half of that budget was simply the paint, but painting the room made such a difference. Now, this is a long video, so enough chatting. I can't wait for you to see this transformation. I know you're gonna love it.
So we use the shutter as a little doggy door so I can keep this room open for some circulation, but the dog can't come in here because she'd be peeing on my carpet. So this little side table, I have a blog post on making it, but basically I just put the legs on the card catalog. And I also have a blog post on trying to make this look like brass. But you can see whatever kind of paint this is, anytime you lean something up against it, it sticks. And so what I think I'm going to do here is paint this, but also do some board and batten, and then do a ledge like I have in the living room so that I can display my black and white gentleman here, and then I can be on the hunt for some more or something else to mix in with them. So we used to have this at the kitchen table in Centerville, and then when we moved here, I just didn't really have a place for it. I like it here because it kind of serves like a spot for you to put your suitcase and your bags, but also this room is so small, and part of me wants to put a piece of furniture in here, but part of me thinks that will be too heavy. I did finally hang these curtains, and they were actually in the other bedroom, but the kids switched rooms when Kellen went to college, and you can see that they're too short. So the other window must be a little bit shorter. I don't know. I brought this green hardware tool chest into the room just to kind of see if I liked it here or not. It's not gonna stay. I'm not really sure if I'm gonna sell it or keep it. I just can't decide. This is Cash's old comforter. This is Kellen's old comforter. And so what I ended up doing was I ordered on Amazon a new duvet cover. And the reason I did that before I bought paint is because I want to be able to match my paint color to the comforter. Instead of putting the paint up and then trying to find a comforter that's gonna match or duvet cover that's gonna match, I decided to buy the duvet cover first. So that way I know if I like it or not. They only had a queen in the one that I liked, and I'm pretty sure this is a full size. I know the bed's full size, but we had a queen and a couple fulls, and I couldn't remember for sure this comforter size, but I looked for a tag, couldn't find one. I think that it is a full. So I have this room on my docket of things to be working on. I've been looking on Facebook Marketplace for a different side table. I think I kind of want something to match, but the reason that I've been playing around with what I can put is because even though there's quite a distance here, you have to make sure to leave enough room so that the bifold door will open. And when I had that green piece on this side, because that's how this used to be over there with the mirror on it, I couldn't open the closet door. So that's kind of important. And then not sure what I'll do on the curtains, not sure what I'll do on anything, but gotta start somewhere.
Good morning, everybody. I'm getting ready to go to Hello, Iowa, but before I go, I'm having a cup of coffee, and then I wanted to show you what I ordered. Sunlight is coming in. but it's so dark in all of our bedrooms because literally you have the light bulbs that are with the ceiling fan, and that is it. And I am kind of chuckling at myself now because guess what color I'm going to paint the room? And I'm matching today. I'm going to paint it navy. What I did, I kind of had a game plan on what I wanted things to look like, and I wanted the room and the comforter to be navy, and then I decided to pull in some mustard yellow. Now, I had thrifted a blanket that we have in the living room that's mustard yellow, and I really kind of liked it. It's got the neutral color, and I'm just gonna blow your mind right now because in our previous house, it was a Craftsman bungalow that we had the Amish pick up and move to a new basement. We gutted it. We had new electric, insulation, plumbing, everything was new, but we had the character of the old house. But anyway, the colors that I had in that house, I had like a sage green, it might have been called cricket. I had burgundy, and I had mustard yellow. So our living room was actually mustard yellow. So it shouldn't surprise me that I decided to pick something like that. This is a velvet pillowcase. This is a 18 by 18 because when Cash and I were going around looking for some clothes for him at the garage sales, I came home with a 3-4 down pillows. This is 20 by 20, and they recommend, even though I haven't stuffed them yet, they recommend that you go a size down on your covers. So these I haven't done anything with. I am going to stick them in the dryer before I put the covers on, just to kind of de-germ them a little bit, but I saw the house they were at. I feel fine about it. So then Sherwin-Williams was having a sale, and it was going until yesterday. And so as soon as I realized that, I decided I'm going to do something that I typically don't do. Now, typically I paint the room and then I get everything to go with it. This time I wanted to go ahead and get the comforter this is a duvet cover that I thought looked good online. And this is actually a Martha Stewart one. And again, it's got the velvet, and I loved the striped lines on it. And I also liked that the lines were going horizontally. They weren't going the length of the bed. They were going side to side. And I don't know, I really like that. So I decided, okay, I'm gonna order the comforter, and then I can take the sham cover in and match the paint, right? Okay, well, the comforter wasn't supposed to get here until Monday. Sale ends Monday. So what I did is I went to the store and I got a bunch of paint samples that I thought were like a dark navy color, and just brought them in here, looked at them, because this was probably on like a Friday, looked at them in the morning light, looked at them with the blinds closed, looked at them in the evening light. I kind of had my top one picked out, which is actually the bigger card that I got, and this one is called Anchors Aweigh. Guess what? Sherwin-Williams closes at 5. I think the bedding came at like 6, so it really didn't do me any good. So I am going to sit tight because Sherwin-Williams is always running a sale. So I'm going to wait until they have their next sale to purchase paint. In the meantime, I'm probably going to go get some more samples, because having these color swatches in the space, I don't know, this maybe is more blue than navy, and so then I have to kind of decide what color I want to do. But I honestly think I picked up every navy swatch. I'm just going to keep looking at it and studying it, and probably getting some opinions from some friends before I decide what color I want to do. And in the meantime, this wall right here is what's getting the board and batten. So yesterday I strategized on how many boards I need, how long they need to be. I asked my neighbor if I could borrow his air gun and his saw. trying to get everything lined up. So after I do Hello Iowa this morning, which I'm talking to Megan about bowl filler ideas. So if you are looking for some bowl filler ideas, make sure to check the blog. I will put that down in the description for you. But after that, then I'm gonna run probably to Home Depot, not for any particular reason, but probably go to Home Depot and get all of my supplies so that when my neighbor brings me his stuff, then I can just go ahead and do that, get the wall done, and then I'm totally ready for painting when it's time to paint. A little caveat to this whole thing is that my son has maybe a 2-week gap between his old lease and his new lease. So that means we're bringing all of his stuff home. We're going to keep most of it in the garage, but he will be sleeping in this room. So probably right when I'm wanting to paint and do all of this, he's going to be wanting to sleep in here. So we might have a little bit of delay in all of the things that are happening, but it also gives me time because I'm really not sure what I want to do with the curtain situation. The blinds were in this room when we bought the house. The curtains we added later. Both boys wanted like blackout curtains, which I did buy. Not as good as the brand that I bought for Cash. Cash's are black, Kellen's were gray. And I just hung those up in here. And then when Kellen stayed over, they slept in super, super late because the curtain and the blind really makes it dark in here. So I do think I want to have some kind of curtain, but the color scheme in here is going to be navy, mustard yellow, and white. So here are the swatches that I got, and you can see all the dust floating through the air. That's crazy. But I left out at the store, there was like some that looked more green, some that looked more purple, just even in the store when you compared them to others. But like this one to me looks pretty green, Mount Etna, and even Gale Force. So I kind of took these 3 out, and I would say that I am down to the 3 of these, which the sun is moving now. And so here, sunshine, here, not sunshine. But I don't know if I really like any of them with this bedding. Let's move it and see what it looks like in another spot. So here are the color swatches. Again, we're in the morning light. On camera, this one looks like a winner to me because we know the comforter is pretty blue on the blue side. And I just think out of the ones that I have, this seems the most blue. So evening light, I was leaning towards this one. Right now, I'm leaning towards this one. But again, I'm gonna come in here probably another 50 times and look at it before I make my decision. And here's an up-close shot of these beautiful mustard yellow pillow covers. I love them, and I'm going to be buying them in different colors for other spaces. At Home Depot, the biggest decision came to what I was going to do my board and batten with. Was I going to use something cheap like a pine, or was I going to use this MDF? When I did the living room, I did the cheaper pine, and the dilemma was it just shows a lot of grain and texture even after you paint it. And even rolling the paint on, I didn't get the finish that I really wanted. It doesn't match the rest of the trim in the house. So I opted to go with something twice as expensive with the MDF just to see if it made a difference. That way I know in the future which, route I want to go, and my experience helps you. kind of a game plan change. I went ahead and I got the comforter washed. I threw the new comforter in the dryer to kind of de-wrinkle it a little bit. However, the more I thought about it, I don't know if this is the one for me. It's a little bit shiny, shimmery, probably not like the best match or best match to my style. So I feel like I'm a little more muted. I love the shine on the yellow or the mustard pillowcases, but I almost think the shine on the comforter makes it seem more blue, and I don't want blue. I want navy. I want dark. Our old house, we had painted the bedroom in black. It was tuxedo. I can't remember what the company was, but tuxedo. And I loved it. My mom was very nervous about me painting it black, but I loved it. And so this room, I want to be navy. I want it to be a little bit darker with the pops of mustard and white. So I went ahead and ordered another comforter. We're gonna open up this comforter and kind of see what it looks like. Online, both of them looked really dark, but you know, you just never know. I was also a little bit bummed because the comforter came late, right? So I couldn't get the 30% off at Sherwin-Williams. Well, then I got an email like the next day, and they were doing their really nice paint, which is emerald. They had 40% off of it for 2 days. But I just couldn't pull the trigger on which color was going to match the comforter the best, or if I liked the comforter. And then of course, this wasn't gonna come in until a day late when I decided I'm just gonna go ahead and order another one because I'm just not sure. If I'm gonna paint this and buy stuff, I might as well like it, right? Because once I do this, I will not be changing this room for the rest of the time we live here, whether that ends up being 3 more years when Cash graduates, or if we decide to stay in this house longer, to be determined. But whatever I do this time is what it's going to be for life. So it's really kind of hard to tell. I'm going to lay this one out a little bit and then we'll kind of look at it. I do like the way that it feels. I thought it was going to feel cheap, and I don't think that it really does. The one thing I didn't like about it on the, pictures, why would you put a white zipper on a navy duvet cover? Navy zippers don't cost any more money. So I wasn't very excited about that, but it does have like the cover, the flap overlay for the zipper. I definitely think the shine seems a little bit more elegant, but I don't know. I didn't really want plain, but I can still style the bed in such a way that it's gonna look elevated. I think the other thing is that this set was a lot cheaper, probably half the price of this Martha Stewart one. So that could always influence me too. Here's the colors, and it just amazes me the green tone some of these have that they don't have until they're next to something navy. So the two I was leaning towards, well, I can't even remember now. Switch them. I think I was leaning towards navel for this one. Just looking at the swatches in the room when I didn't have any navy, I was leaning towards Anchors Aweigh. So I'm thinking that Anchors Aweigh is going to be it. Let's see, it is midday right now. So we'll come in the morning and see what it looks like, and then probably later this evening if I remember. But I think I'm leaning towards Anchors Aweigh and this duvet cover. I still think it's gonna look well with the yellow.
just crazy how different things look with different lighting. Here's with no sunshine really hitting it. Oh my gosh, these outlets were the death of me. So I had measured for the boards to be the same width of board and space between boards as what I have in the living room. And I probably should have taken into consideration the outlets because I think it would have saved me a lot of stress. Because no matter how many different combinations I tried, I was always getting a board in the outlet and or like an inch away from the corner or one of the corners, which wouldn't have looked good either. Hubby was really not happy with my final decision, but knowing the bed placement and kind of how I was decorating the room, I knew that my decision was fine. I did look online for a lot of ideas before I made my final decision. His thought process was we should have just bumped out the outlet and this cable thing. I did look into the cable thing to see how difficult that was going to be because I knew the outlet would be easy to pop out. But in the same breath, this outlet is behind the bed. The other one is really close to the bed. And having it a little bit recessed, I thought was better because then you could have a normal plug. You know, I know you can buy those flat ones that hug closer to the wall, but we don't have those typically on things. And so I thought having it recessed from the board and batten was a good thing. You'll have to tell me what you think down in the comments. So I hung the horizontal board first, and I really was trying to make sure everything was level and at the right height. I just put a vertical board there in the middle to help because I was doing it by myself, and that helped get me at the right height. And I'm only checking for studs here just because in case they're close, I can angle the nail gun so that the trim board, the vertical board, actually is in a stud. And on my horizontal board, I tried to actually nail into studs. But really, these boards are not getting any action on them, so they really don't need to be into a stud, especially if they're not warped, which is one of the perks to using the MDF. It was a lot less warped than when I used the pine boards in the living room.
I'm loving it. Now, I did cut some corners in the sense that our outlet here, I just took the easiest route because I studied the spacing for hours. And by that point, I was sick of it. So after trying to be patient and do a good job, then I'm just like, I am slapping this baby up there. It'll look fine. There's going to be a bed. There's going to be a side table. So you're not even going to see anything. Also, there are some gaps here at the top that we're going to fill in with caulking, but I really think using this, MDF board was a much better decision than when I used the pine board out in the living room. One of the things that I did different in this room is I did make a bigger ledge. So I actually used the same size board. It's about a 4.5-inch one to do a ledge here on top because in the living room, you notice that I did the mirrors. Well, I really had to hang the mirrors and then just give them the look of leaning because the ledge was not long enough. And right now I'm probably just gonna wait for hubby to get home. He is running and gonna get us some caulking. And then I'm probably gonna put him in charge of caulking because other than the board and batten in the living room, he has done all of the caulking in any house that we've lived in, and he's just better at it. And then that way I don't have to do it. The one thing that I would say about these walls, I don't know, or if the board and batten, I don't know if you can tell, but I did not make sure everything was exact like I did last time. Last time I used a spacer board to make sure everything was exactly spaced correctly. This time I did not because of the outlets, but because I could only fit 2 boards in here without having one be like a partial size, and kind of on the other end we were running into those same problems. So no matter how many times I tried to get a pattern of, I tried anything from 14-inch difference to 17-inch span. These for the most part are 15 3/4 or 16 inches. And I'm okay with that. I don't think anyone is going to notice the little 1/4 inch difference.
For the curtains, I just picked the 3 that I thought had the best chances of matching, and I bought all 3. That way I could look at them with the comforter and then return whichever ones didn't work. I just thought it would be a lot simpler. The last one that I opened was a no because it was more of a linen texture. The other one was a nice texture to coordinate with the comforter, but it wasn't the right color. And these silk satiny ones I thought might be a good match something different, a good blend for the velvet pillow, the more cotton comforter, and then some silky curtains. When I paint, I like to cut in and then come back and roll. I normally work on a wall at a time, although sometimes, as you can see, I wrap around to the next wall. So this is about after 1 gallon of paint, which was all that I bought. But turns out I needed to paint 3 or 4 coats. So I had to go back. Luckily, they were still on sale, and get another gallon. Okay, I'm starting to make the bed, waiting for the paint to dry. So I did this morning, probably finished at like 11 or noon, and it's about 3 o'clock now. Some spots have 3 coats, some spots have 4 coats. So I'm hoping that I'm done, but I'm going to wait to put everything away and do a whole lot until I am 100% sure that it doesn't need it again. I did put some outlet covers on, and I chose to keep these white or off-white because they're going to be heavily used, and I'm keeping the trim and baseboards white. And so I know people are going to disagree with me on that, but I feel that that's okay. Now on this wall, I only did the ones here behind the bed because you're not going to see them anyway, but Matt had caulked in the cover, so I was pretty much forced to do it. Otherwise, you know, I was going to be peeling back caulking, and I couldn't rework the, what do you call it, like to hook up your cable. This one, I'm going to paint the outlet separately and then put it back on. Right now it's just cream, so I'm going to go ahead and leave it off. That one is going to be the most used, so really I was going to just leave it cream, and then I tapped it on accident with some paint color. So then I just went ahead and rolled it one time. I was reading some, I don't know, opinions about why you're not supposed to paint them, but I don't really understand how it can do any damage. So if you know something I don't, leave it down in the comments. It definitely looks more blue on the camera, especially when the sun is hitting it just right. But overall, I really do like the color. I was very nervous when I opened that can. Question for you as I'm making the bed. I feel like I always struggle a little bit on making the bed. I did end up running the comforter long ways. So when you're sleeping, if you pull it up to under your chin, which I personally like to do, your blanket's going to be at your toes. Right now it's hanging down, and then it stops right there. But that gave me a little bit more length on the sides. I do not understand why comforter blanket makers do not just make a bigger comforter. I understand the sheet, even the top sheet you could make bigger, but whatever. I don't understand the blanket. Now, I was watching a video from Lone Fox, and he was making his bed in a few different ways. And honestly, the thing that fascinated me the most was the pillowcases, because he always had the finished end out, and I typically put the finished end in. And I'm just curious, what do you do? Like, I know on a day-to-day basis you might not even pay attention. I mean, some of us are a little more type A personality than the other, but yeah, I'm just curious, which way do you think it's supposed to go? Tell me down in the comments. I found this cabinet on Facebook Marketplace, and I thought it would be perfect. And then I looked at the dimensions, and I decided it was too short, so I didn't buy it. And then I saw that it had sold, and then I looked again and it hadn't sold. So I rushed and went and picked it up, put it in the spot, and then I didn't really think that I liked it anymore. One of the reasons I was so attracted to it was because this could be an office space when you put that secretary top down. and then I could close it when guests are here. But the room is so small, there's just not a lot of space between the bed and this little cabinet. I love the color. It's exactly what I was wanting, but I wasn't sure about its size. Okay, so we ended up taking the little cabinet that I bought, or desk I bought off Facebook Marketplace, and swapping it out for the dresser. I just didn't like the proportions, and even if I put things on the wall or beside it, I just didn't think I was going to like it. Now, I'm not exactly loving this unfinished piece, which Matt and I bought when we first got married, and then when we moved to this house, I would say the first summer we were here, so probably 2 years ago, I stripped it down to the raw wood. And then I ended up rearranging my bedroom and not even using it in there. So it's been in the basement. And it was so much labor to get this bad boy stripped off that I do not want to stain it, even though I totally could. But my idea was to do like a rich oak. So I'm just going to work on decorating it, and I'm sure it's going to look fine once it has some decor on it. And I'm actually going to try and be very patient, because in whatever they painted the walls previously with, anytime you lean something up against it, it became tacky and left a mark. And so I'm going to try to be patient and not hang anything on the wall immediately. So the game plan is to have a mirror of some sort. So I had this mirror in the room before, and I will probably use this one, but I also have one down in the lower level that is a much similar size but much more elaborate. Might end up using this. This is actually in the closet, and this dresser I did for 4-H back probably in grade school. And no one likes to open the drawers on it. I think it's fine, but I do think opening and closing drawers on an antique dresser, it requires a little bit of finesse and technique. And once you know that technique, I think it's super, super easy, but my kids never liked using this. So it fits in the closet well. You can see we don't have clothes hanging up anyway. And half of this stuff needs to find a new home or was already out here in the bedroom. But a mirror will get incorporated in some capacity. We have also managed to lose, I literally just bought the sheet set, and we have lost one of the white pillowcases. Now, in my hunt for the white pillowcase, I did discover that I actually have some white sham or pillow covers, and I don't know where these came from, but I need to have all of my pillows have some kind of pattern on the covering. And so I would need to have like another white pillowcase to double up the layers so that the pattern didn't show through. But I kind of think I'm leaning towards using 2 white pillows in the yellow versus the navy shams that came with the comforter that I got. Also in this transformation, I'm going to be getting some paint on these screw heads on the ceiling. So the drywall or the mud is popped off, and now you have 2 black spots. After making the bed, it was clear that I needed to order a bed skirt. Luckily, I looked at the brand of duvet cover that I got, and that brand also makes a skirt. And I am in love with this skirt because see the seam here? Normally, the part that goes under your mattress is white, or at least that's how they were when I grew up. And this one is navy. It's brilliant, genius. I don't know why all bed skirts are not made this way. Making some progress in here. I decided to do a stack of these black metal bank boxes. I did get some pieces here on the dresser. I decided to just lean the mirror instead of stacking it. And then the stuff on the chair, I'm not sure what we're going to do with. So Kellen moved into his apartment for college. He got a different one this year. So I haven't been able to hang the curtains, but I am excited to get those hung when I get my drill back. I still need to patch in the nail holes here, and I need to touch up paint on the screw holes on the ceiling, but I am just loving how it looks. Now, I was on the hunt when I went to Orinoco Gold Rush Days and when I visited Antiques, Iowa. Those are a couple of videos I've done recently. I was looking for some more like black and white, or just going to say black and white men, and I had no luck, which I was very surprised at. But I am excited to stay on the hunt, and I probably want to get more of those. I don't think the 3 look bad, but I was just envisioning more layering. And then I ended up going with a small little stool here on this side, and this actually was in my bedroom. So now I have an empty spot in my bedroom, but you know how that goes. You move something and it causes a chain reaction. I debated putting this on Marketplace and trying to sell it, but I haven't yet. I think for now, until I find something that I like more, I'm just going to use this one on this side. And then also, you might notice that I didn't ever put the outlet cover back on. I was trying to find like a plug-in black, like 4 or 6 socket outlet extender. I don't even know what you technically call them, but all of them are just too big. And because I have the trim on the top and the bottom, I need a very specific size. So I did find one that would fit. I just haven't pulled the trigger and actually purchased it yet. But I'm loving how it looks. I'm sure some of you are saying, Brooke, you should have color drenched in here. But I can honestly say I'm not sure if I am a color drenched person. And I really just think it depends on your house and the room. I was thinking about using this as a shower curtain. I just love crazy quilts. This one is not perfect, but I love it. I love the colors, and I threw it in here just to wait because I'm ordering some little ring clips for the shower curtain. But look how nice it looks in the room. So I might end up throwing it at the end of the bed, to be determined. But this is going to kind of be, well, there's not any mustard yellow in it, I don't think. But this is kind of going to be the inspiration for the house and the decor and the colors. Kind of like, well, here's a mustard. Just these olive green, blues, different shades of tan and neutral. I just love it. The bed is all popped out because I ended up having to paint, and I just painted it in place, which kind of looks like there's a little bit of white there, but it's going to be covered up by the bed anyway. I had to pull the bed out. So I ordered this online, and the biggest issue with picking something out, I really would have preferred one with like the USB or the ports for your cell phone, but none of them would fit in my little area here. So I ended up going with this one. The reason I did is because the plugs get used a lot and the paint is going to scratch off. And so I was just trying to fit something in there. I would kind of fill it in, but look dark, and you know, guests wouldn't feel bad about using it. This one does come with a screw, so I will probably take the screw plate out and go ahead and install this one. That way it doesn't come loose when you're pulling your plug in and out. So weird and random, but this piece right here is like that one screw is out. So I need to go and find a screw to put in it, because I'm hoping putting a screw in it will keep it tight. Otherwise, every time you walk in this room, it makes a noise. And of course, it's not gonna rattle right now because I'm wanting it to, but anytime I walk by this dresser, this is rattling and it's annoying. Definitely doesn't look perfect. Hindsight, we should have never put the curtain rod right on the trim, but we did, and the holes are never going to be smooth again, but they're filled. So next up, we're hanging the curtains. I finally have my drill back. I wasn't sure I'd even need the drill. It just depended on if we actually hit a stud or not. So I really wanted my husband's help to hang these because I thought it would be easier with a two-man process. I didn't want to hang the rod too high so the curtains were short. I didn't want them too low because I didn't want a lot of pooling. A little bit would have been fine. I had to brainstorm what I was going to do since it was just me. I measured the length of the curtains. I took off about an inch because I figured the rod is going to, impact that. I wasn't exactly sure how I was going to hang them, if I was going to use the tabs or run it all the way through. What I ended up doing was getting my tape measure to the correct length and then just using that for my height guide and then using my stud finder to find the studs. Now, my stud finder did not find a stud in the middle, but there definitely was a stud there that I was screwing into. When we hung these rods originally, we went on the trim, and I'm remembering why. It was because of the size and stability. So I did get everything into a stud this time, but that meant my rod was too short. So luckily, when we hung the curtains in both of the boys' rooms, we used the same rod. So I went and stole one section off of Cash's rod and used it in here so that I could get them hung and make sure I was happy. And then I ended up ordering another rod for Cash's room. I also took a moment and trimmed this shutter down so it would fit right in the door frame. I did add some felt pieces to it just to protect from scraping and save the paint. While I haven't gotten the other side table listed on Facebook Marketplace, I was lucky enough to get this table. It popped up about a mile from me for $10, so I grabbed it.